Okay, time for the final mission of John Dee's series, Deep Trouble 2 Part 2, Mother's Playground. Mechanist science projects be damned. You're not going to go through unknown dangers for free. Make your high-risk misadventure pay off. Leave 2,000 in cash richer. The Hammers have their holy icons, so do the Mechanists, both of which tend to fetch high prices from collectors that can make a skilled thief smile. See if you can find one so you can make a good profit out of this whole mess. The gizmo in charge has gone crazy. Find the escape pods you've heard about and use them to get the hell out of here. Although that might be easier said than done.
Tonight's service in the main temple will begin at 7 p.m. and will continue until the ceremonies are completed at 8:30. All personnel not engaged in critical tasks are required to attend.
Haven't seen much damage around here. Looks like the mechs got overwhelmed before they could make any kind of real stand.
Friend Argive. Little Anna went outside for the first time today. After much training in the pool, I was finally able to convince my superior to let her accompany me on an outside patrol. After getting her dressed in the dive suit, which had been especially tailored to suit her, and checking to make sure her helmet was properly sealed, the breath potion tank was at full capacity. She followed me down the ladder into the cold blue sea. It was some task. In her enthusiasm to explore, she wanted to swim everywhere. But I was able to keep her close by, despite having to chase her down a couple of times and insist that she stay beside me. Friend Ruger told me afterwards how some of them were laughing as they watched me zigzag across the ocean floor to keep up with her. Such a curious child, and fearless, like her father. I still remember how he left us not so long ago for assignment with the 6th Army. I wanted to follow, but he insisted I remain here. That a steel fortress wasn't the proper place for our child in times of war. When I confessed my fears to him, I can still remember his smile as he reassured me he would survive and triumph. He told me about the wondrous new technologies and weapons that friend Arbez had created. He said the undead would be nothing more than a memory within a month of our first campaign, and I believed him. At least until that day I received news that he had been killed in a huge explosion at Outpost 10. Apparently they decided to use their last sunburst device to destroy themselves before being overrun. I had seen how many of Arbez's innovations had speeded up development of our home here with the exception of Mother. How strange. I recall seeing a strange event in the control center in the days the 6th was stationed here, shortly before the swordfish began carrying them to the fortress. I was working on making repairs to the electrical connections behind one of the control panels just out of view when I witnessed the event. I remember Brother Cavador had made a surprise visit via the Amicus, and he was making an inspection and tour of our base. I overheard him chuckling with friend Hyundai about some art collection friend Caressa had, when suddenly friend Arbez stepped into the room with his new assistant Tilst in tow. What a bright young man. I hear he was ranked 3rd in mathematics at the seminary in Dayport before the Hammers took advantage of the troubles after Soulforge to seize it back for themselves. Arbez greeted both of them with respect, but you could almost see a glare of contempt directed toward Cavador despite his politeness. Cavador acted as if nothing had happened, but you could sense his anger toward the man. Hyundai then stepped forward and asked Arbez about the status of the volunteers. Arbez smiled and stated that the procedure had turned out well, that there had been only 3 casualties due to the extensive implants done, quite unprecedented from what I hear, and that the friends who had given themselves to become the Sisterhood were about to step out of the suspension stakes to begin their first combat drills as new cybernetic beings. At this report, Hyundai seemed quite pleased and somewhat amazed. I remember how nervous he had been about allocating so many resources to Arbez's project, but the willingness of the group of girls from the academy to volunteer to become a new fighting force for the Order had inspired him to go along with Arbez's plans. Arbez visited Hyundai and his staff downstairs to observe the first test when Mother spoke an announcement over the loudspeakers. Arbez paused to comment that this must be the Iron Goddess so many friends were boasting about in a somewhat sarcastic tone. to which Mother responded that she was only a child of Karis, created to follow the Builder and serve the Order. Arbez's smugness seemed to vanish as he realized the truth of what we all knew down here. Mother is self-aware and can respond to friends in a manner beyond the abilities of an ordinary child. You could see Arbez was startled and intrigued, but he quickly concealed it and insisted that the officers go down to observe the tests. But Brother Cavador rather coldly excused himself, and Trick Spring remained with him as the others left. I recall hearing Cavador murmuring something about false brethren under his breath as he turned to stare into Mother's chamber through the observation port. Trick Spring murmured something about being wary of his power, and that Mother's technology should be protected first. To this Cavador agreed. You could almost see the hate oozing through his mechanized eyes and dripping down his scarred face. Horrible pagans. Then as he stared into the chamber, it seemed like a revelation washed across his mind, and he began to smile. He then turned to Trick Spring and whispered, "You remember the old proverb about curiosity killing the cat, old friend? Meet me with Gorik in Mother's chamber later." Later on, I remember asking Gorik, who was a close friend of mine since we went through the seminary, about his work with Cavador, without revealing all that I heard. A look of fear came across his face, and he took me aside and made me swear an oath to the Builder not to reveal it to anyone. "If Arbez asks you to assist him with anything to do with Mother in her chamber, don't," he said. "He's already given orders to Hyundai and everyone else not to tamper with her and lock down the access tunnel. If Arbez decides to ignore this, he'll have to enter the main chamber to access her. Don't go there. Tell him you're under orders to complete another task. Lie. Do whatever you have to. Best bet is to just avoid him altogether. Just don't go down to help him in there." I was startled by this, but agreed to heed his advice. Next morning there was a skeleton crew in the control center, and I was busy performing maintenance tasks again when I was surprised to see Arbez enter Mother's chamber with Tilst in tow and some equipment, one of which looked like one of our new cameras, to record details of Mother's functions, perhaps, maybe to copy and use it on his own probably. But then as Tilst was observing the side panels on Mother's upper core, prior to opening one of them, Arbez looked around him and seemed to notice the 4 turrets that had been just added. After speaking with Tilst for a moment, they stopped and left. Tilst seemed rather puzzled, but Arbez seemed rather amused, and I saw him mouth the word pathetic as he left the chamber. Why? I don't know, but Cavador had his reasons for giving out his orders, as I'm sure Hyundai has his for linking her with the security grid. I guess Cavador has granted permission to renew research and development with her now that the island conflict is over. But they never tell junior officers like myself anything of importance, just like the first time Hyundai began pulling the Sisterhood out of stasis and putting them on patrol. Arbez had said they needed to stay and train, but he never summoned them. Poor Anna is terrified of them, but I reassured her they are here to help keep us safe, just as Mother watches over us all. A later, more recent entry. Mother has gone mad. Our servants fight against us. The men are slain, but Mother is gathering any surviving women and children and dragging them to the labs. And now they're coming for us. Oh, my dear Cog. Now I have done the unthinkable. Builder, please have mercy on my soul. I saw what had been done to the other children. I will not let mine suffer the same fate. Our whole world has gone mad, and there's no escape. I hear them approaching now. I won't be taken alive.
Change? Into what? Must be pretty bad to make a mother kill her own child.
In the name of Karis, I call the wrath of the Builder upon all who fight against his glorious ways. Long live the Order of the Gear. Long live the children of steel and all who love them. Friends, this is Mother. Remember the words of Karis. The gear does not ask what it does, but remains in its place and performs its function without flaw or question.
Power overwhelming. Blessed be the forge which gives shape unto metal and steam unto the boiler. Blessed be the fire of the builder and the forge of Karis.
Look at what they did to those kids.
The builder has gifted thee with the greatest of all treasures, the future. Anyway, as you can see, the kids have been transformed into servants.
My dear little ones, thy parents were flawed. They rebelled against the dictates of Brother Cavador and sought to harm me and the work of Karis. Now I have chastened them and gathered you together. You have now been changed into a new form to serve the works of the builder and replace those who were unworthy. Long live the order, and may Karis bless you all. Remember the songs of old, little ones? Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird. Hush, little baby, don't say a thing. Mama's gonna buy you a diamond ring.
I'm not sure, but maybe that symbol is a reference to BioShock, possibly. I mean, it would make sense given that this is a city underwater, but I don't know for sure. Friend Kenda.
Servants, those who were once thought unworthy of any good thing, until your transformation by the wisdom of Karis. You are among those who answered my call and came to aid me in my hour of need. May you all be richly blessed by Karis. until the return of the good brother Cavador, who will restore all to its former glory, I beseech thee to continue in thy duties of service. Once the repairs are done, I will have thee clean the bodies of the wretched rebels from this holy place. O, a curse be upon their loathsome flesh! They were once counted as friends, but they are nothing but a reed that pierces the hand of whosoever leans upon them. May my Creator replace them with those who will be found worthy in Kairys' name.
Now through here is the main chapel, where I believe that... what was it? Oh yeah, the Mechanist icon is. May thy gears run smoothly, and let all thine endeavors bring glory to the builder's name.
The path to the Builder's kingdom is lined with metal walls and upheld through the inspired works of the true believers. Technology is the breath of the Builder's spirit, which blows through the vessels of unworthy flesh to build that which is better than they. Our order shall grow until it absorbs every tribe and nation, uniting this terrestrial globe under the leadership of the Council of Kairys. We shall rebuild this world into an image that will bring joy to our Father Kairys, so we may know the joy of the Builder's love, the Builder's love.
Now right up there on the altar is the icon. Unfortunately, I believe it sets off of a,
What's struggling the heat?
There is a thief among us. I detect the removal of a holy icon.
yeah. I don't think there's a way around it, unfortunately. Best bet is to just run away. The robots in this mission have a new kind of power source. It's some kind of energy crystal of some kind. It's not a fire boiler, so you can't put them out with water arrows. Luckily, this good old trick of blackjacking them still works.
Hostility and violence. However, I have not determined hostility and mass.
You callous weed. I just had that repaired. That destruction will cost thee thy life.
Friend Silas. The new children's power cells need recharging fairly often, but you can count on them not getting disabled by a rain shower like the standard models did. What I admire most about them is the upgrades Cavador made to their navigational gear complex. That's in response to the complaints we kept getting from the friends who were involved in the island operations. The standard machines, as well as the newer firebots, kept having problems navigating rough terrain, especially in combat. From what I hear, the new model's navigational abilities are far superior. And who would want to be caught in front of that ball lightning gun? I wouldn't. I bet Cavador could hardly wait to get a squad of them together topside to go pagan hunting. That seems to be his favorite sport right now. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. The combat bots, in addition to having a new power source, also have a new weapon. power core.
This calls to thee.
Main Plaza. Oh boy, I alerted the new bots. Better watch out. And unlike the regular combat bots, you can't trick them into blowing themselves up.
Inactivate. On error. A malfunction. On error. Dangerous conditions. On error.
An intruder is stalking nearby. Exercise vigilance, my daughters.
Oh boy, here comes another one. The future has arrived, praise Karis.
On error. On error. Dangerous conditions. A malfunction. On error. A malfunction.
Who dost thou think thou art to strike at me in such a way? By Karis, I'll have the flesh peeled from your bones.
Vision. Attention, friends. Use of high explosives for fishing purposes is expressly forbidden under Article 51. This not only uses up precious armaments that have yet to be fully restocked since the island campaign, but it also risks damage to the outer walls of our home here. Dining room here and a piano, and outside the windows is a sunken schooner, I guess it's called, a boat of some kind. Gear Shaft Pizza and Deli. Thy time in this world is short. Bring glory to the builder by making the most of it.
Blessed are the metal ones, for they shall know perfection and the joy that comes from the builder alone.
Guardians for the future. Yeah, great. I better... Oops. Sorry about that. Anyway, gotta be careful. The spider bots too have been upgraded. Oh, there's one. Crap. Oh, I didn't point that out in the previous mission. Mother is not pleased. Carascola. The face of progress. I didn't mention that in the previous mission. There are these depth bombs you pick up. They're supposed to be for enemies you meet underwater, but they can also work just fine against robots. Victory in the forest. Karis be praised. Due to the recent construction of the new railway in the eastern woods, earlier this week our brave friends were able to take a contingent of the latest children, developed by our most excellent elder brother Cavador, along with 60 of our bravest warrior veterans of the 4th and 6th Armies, who fought so bravely on the Island of Iron, and turned disaster into final victory over the undead. The foul pagans who had been raiding the railway since its completion 4 months ago made a fatal error when they failed to leave one of their great villages, which was within 5 miles of one of our new forts. In their arrogance, they thought they were safe, but to the trickster's grief, in the early morning hours, our fighters surrounded the village, trapping the wretched primitives within. Like caged animals, they were slain by the dozen, and when our new Omega droids arrived to wreak havoc among them, followed by a brave assault by our forces from every quarter. Within the hour, the fight was over, at the cost of 4 wounded friends and 2 who had the honor of becoming holy martyrs in the cause of Karis. Over 80 filthy pagan cutthroats were slain, along with 2 shamans who were caught trying to sneak away and were burned alive to the joy of our troops. The surviving heathens, mostly women, children, and the elderly, have now been removed to Camp 4 for special treatment. Glory to the gear. Oh my cog. We were in the midst of a sea of trouble deeper than we can swim am out of, I fear. Mother seeks to slay us all, and the Sisterhood. Such savage assaults. It's as if they actually enjoy killing us. Why? I don't think that comes from Mother. Even in her madness, she acts as though she's doing what she's doing is only serving the greater glory of the Order. One minute she denounces us as betrayers and infidels, the next she's making a normal announcement, as though nothing is wrong. It's like some kind of switch has been flipped. She thinks we're seeking to destroy her, and that she's only defending herself from harm until Cavador arrives. A technical error, perhaps? I had heard whispers about Mother being upgraded. Something must have gone terribly wrong, but all who could say are dead or changed. I do know that the sisters were placed under the control of Mother via her signal tower recently. That's why she's been able to compel them to attack us. But once the blood began to spill, they went wild with joy and smashed their victims with a viciousness not even seen from haunts. They even kept attacking friends who were already dead. Maybe that's why friend Hyundai kept them in the cold storage tanks until he could have them all put under Mother's control. I know Mother didn't tell them to enjoy slaughter so much. It must come from the wiring in their masts, but that would mean friend Arbez set them up to be that way. No one else would ever consider doing that. What a ruthless man. That kind of alteration would ensure that any woman who underwent the procedure could never be used for anything but warfare. What did he plan to do with them after the island campaign was over? Perhaps that's why he left them here. I guess we'll never know after the disaster. Even if Mother was shut down this instant, I don't think they would stop. I think Mother would respond to Brother Cavador telling her to stand down when and if he arrives, but the Sisterhood would tear him apart before he could even get to the core. Now what are we to do? Karis, help us.
Children, remember that all true believers are hemmed in by betrayal and heresy all around us. Strike the unbelievers and root them out wheresoever thou shalt find them.
Hymn 32. As the shaft to the gear, turn me, Master Builder. As the gear to the cog, show me the way. As the coal to the furnace, I burn for thee. Let the builder return. Builder, see what we have done in thy name. Yeah, these are the escape pods, but we won't be able to use them for quite a while. There's more escape pods again. Won't be able to use them until the very, very end of the mission. Oh boy. Yeah, never mind. This is too much trouble to bother with.
Blessed are the metal ones, for they shall know perfection and the joy that comes from the builder alone.
Commander's office. There's friend Hyundai, commander of the underwater facility. Various entries. The fear of the new novices when they first see the clear tunnels and panes always amuses me. I keep having to reassure them that the panes aren't made of ordinary glass, but carefully crafted crystal that is nearly as strong as the metal walls around us. They add beauty and light to our facility, not to mention it's easier to tell if sharks are around before going outside. Cavador has forbidden access to Mother's core under the tower via the maintenance tunnel, but I found a way to alter her core systems by using an outside probe connected to a modified diagnostic tool. In that manner, I can make the needed upgrade without violating the letter of his instructions. Friend Caressa has steadfastly refused to grant me the code for the door at the end of the access tunnel anyway, and I can't force her to break a clear order from the Elder. But I can get around that now. Caressa can sit tight in her personal palace in the old subsection for all I care. I'm going to get things done around here. When everything hath worked out for the best and Cavador's anger cools, I'll request a new vice officer to replace her. Friend Sparks apologized to me today for having a squad of the sisters removed to Markham's Isle. When I arrived, he said the council wanted to see how well they could perform in combat. I told him it was all for the best. He hath given me his blessing for my project, and says he will gladly try to mediate with Cavador when he finds out about the accomplished upgrade. These are my last words I will write in this world. I have this note and key locked away here in the hopes that if found, they may be of use to the one that finds it. The key will open the control center, so thou canst reach the maintenance passage that leads to Mother's core. However, One must still possess the code that will open her inner hatchway. That information lies in the hands of friend Caressa. Pray she still lives, or at least has shared the code with you. If the Builder wills that you have gained possession of both tools, you are blessed indeed. The way to Mother's Heart is fraught with peril, for the hatchway lies in the main labs, where the Sisterhood's storage chambers are. If one is brave or stealthy, one might make it. They are scattered around the base, hunting survivors now. Once in Mother's core, yank out every circuit board that thou wilt see. This will shut down her higher logic functions and leave only basic functions intact. That should stop the signal that blocks the door to the escape pods. There are no turrets in there. I assume Cavador realized, with the key being in my possession alone, as well as Caressa holding the code she guards so jealously, that Arbez would have had access to Mother via a probe in the main chamber, just like I did, if he wished to access her core functions, but he ignored Mother as a useless plaything in his own words. But why did you lay such a trap, my dear brother Cavador? Is that why you've been trying to get back so soon? To shut down the security protocol that was no longer needed before I triggered it? I'm sure you had your reasons for wanting to destroy Arbez. But I will only discover them when and if the Builder grants me forgiveness and receives me into his paradise. Oh, may Karis forgive me. Had I only delayed my plans to upgrade Mother, none of this would have happened. By violating Cavador's orders and wiring Mother into the security grid, I have doomed us all. I tried to flee to the docks to link with Ruger, but my way was blocked by the new droids. Now I have fled here and await my death, which surely must come soon. May Karis forgive my sins. In Karis' name, friend Hyundai.
Too bad for them Cavador didn't make it back on time. But I guess old Hyundai should have followed orders. I wonder, when the Mechanists arrive to clean up this mess, will Cavador be able to cover this episode up like he did with Karis' diary?
There's a nod to another fan mission involving the Mechanists by Karis' diary, Prophecies of Gold, by Thorin Oakenshield. You might have noticed that in my play of Island of Iron Part 2 Confrontation, he mentioned, the voiceover mentioned Merkbell, which is a nod to Kalindra's legacy. We have the key to the control center. But that's only half of the battle. We also need Caressa's code. But Caressa's chambers are in a separate section of the facility, so we need to find our way there.
Well. Looks like Cavador laid a trap for the late friend Arbez. Too bad the bastard didn't take the bait. Would have made things a lot easier for me and everyone else.
Yeah. This leads to the tunnel, Ultima Mother's chamber, but we're not going there yet. Gotta find that code from Caressa. Now, if I remember correctly, Caressa's chambers are adjacent to one of the chapels here. We've already been in the main chapel, obviously, but the I guess auxiliary is the secondary, or auxiliary be the right word. I don't know. The secondary chapel is near Caressa's quarters, so. But we gotta find that. Okay, up these stairs is a tunnel that leads to another part of the compound, which I believe is where we'll find Caressa's quarters.
I am a child of Karis, the greatest of them all, forged by the right hand of his true friend, Brother Cavador, bringing the Builder's light to the deepest abyss. Show me where the enemies of the gear lie, and my children shall strike and not miss.
Even in the depths of the sea, never turn thy gaze from the heavens. Yes, I believe we're close to the chapel.
To all friends who are true to the cause, peace be to thee all in Karis's name, and remember, Mother watches over you all.
This is a mini-sub, which has been disabled. It's actually a custom model of like a hover droid or something from a System Shock 2 mod. No! That bitch left us to die! That escape pod could have held 4 of us if she had just waited. 1,000 curses on that coward. I don't know what we'll do now. They're not coming down the corridor, but you can see lights coming toward us from the outside. I just hope Vladim and Kells will be able to fend them off with the few depth bombs we have. Once they're inside, we're history. Gorek, I saw the note she left, but even with the code, I don't think we'd live long enough to make it into Hyundai's office to look, much less reach the entrance into their lair. Desrael has hidden himself. He thinks he can sneak around and make it there when they get the hatches open, but he's a fool. Try to get close enough to the turret to throw the last 2 fire crystals we have. Try to hit the camera. It will be easier to destroy, and the turret's useless without it. I'm sure the damage to the submersible is minimal. Once the hull is patched up, the backup battery should cover the lost capacitors, and the crew module should be undamaged. It will be a tight squeeze, but with Mother's signal keeping the door to the other escape pods in the plaza locked down, it's our only hope of escape. I just hope everyone else can barricade themselves or hide until we can get help down here.
Cease thy attack at once. I carry on the work of the Builder himself in the name of Karis. I have only followed the dictates of my Creator.
You can swim around yeah, here the 2 guys mentioned that note. They're already dead because there are Sisterhood divers out here. But you can swim around almost the whole complex. And we're back in the generator room at the start. But let's swim back to the sub-dock. Find Caressa's chambers. These are what you call it, ready rooms for divers. And various other facilities. Anyway, enough messing around. Let's go up the stairs and go to the Chapel and Caressa's quarters. Chapel and Vice Commander's quarters. After the tragic accident that has affected Dive Team 4, friend Hyundai is currently seeking volunteers to fill the gaps for non-critical tasks until Brother Cavador arrives with fully trained replacements. Attention friends, it has come to my attention and that children have been spotted playing in the sub bay. See to it that this doesn't happen again. This is extremely dangerous. We love you, Daddy, is what the blood stains say. Oops. Whoops.
Glory be to steel, whose edge reaps the fields of war, whose gleam brings joy to the metalworker's eye, whose walls uphold the temple of Karis.
Now we're in Caressa's quarters. Here's a note she left before she ran off. Well, friends, it looks like friend Hyundai's planned upgrade to Mother has had some unfortunate results, and the set of escape pods adjacent to the main plaza are barred by Mother's control signal. The way to shut that down would be to shut down Mother herself, but you would have to access the core room underneath her main chamber. Not very feasible unless one is good at hiding and sneaking, and I doubt anyone here is taffy enough to make the trip. However, seeing that the few of you won't last very long if and when the Sisterhood decides to force their way inside, I will tell you the code to her inner chamber. It's 1492, but you'll have to have Hyundai's key to access the doorways needed to get it there. Pray he has it in his officer quarters. As for myself, the old escape pod in this section of the facility has not been wired into Mother's network, a precaution I took in case the upgrade went awry. But I never anticipated just what a nasty surprise Brother Cavador had in store for those who wish to violate his orders. I must remain alive in order to report what has happened to the friends topside. Perhaps a rescue party will be able to make it in time to save anyone left. Good luck. You'll need it, friend Caressa.
Looks like at least one of them got away. Guess she didn't tell anyone else her escape pod wasn't under Mother's control. Pretty self-serving. What the hell? I'd take off too. Nice place. Looks like someone has a real aqua palace here.
almost got the loot goal. And we got the loot goal. Now all that's left is to shut Mother down. Main temple alarm cutoff. Well, yeah, it's a little too late in the game for me to do that. But whatever. Oh, this piece of art was made by a fan of Thief called Clockwork Mifune. It's actually, he's supposed to be a portrayal of one of the sisters of the Sisterhood before she was converted. So this was added in a later update to the mission. Friend Hyundai is a bold man and indeed an effective leader in our research and development efforts down in these dark waters. But I fear he sometimes pushes equipment too far too fast and heeds not regulations as he should. I supported his decision to begin recalibrating all turrets and machines to be under the direct control of Mother, so as to make this facility even more secure. Since so many friends were gone in other endeavors topside, bringing the members of the Sisterhood online and recalibrating their masks to enable them to receive guidance and instruction from Mother was a good idea too. They've sat and sit aces too long despite Friend Arbez's anger at their personalities not being fully overridden. And why should they have been? They were volunteers for Builder's sake. You would have thought the junior surgeon who assisted the operation had injected them with poison for the way Arbez raged at him afterwards for not setting the masks to have full mind control. It wasn't long after that the doctor in question had a nasty fall. Bad luck, I guess. However, when it comes to overclocking Mother, I must state my dissent. By wiring most of our security devices into one big network, we've already directly violated one of Cavador's direct orders. For some reason, he wanted Mother to control only her own chamber's security and no other security devices. That is simply untenable now with our current personnel shortage, so we had to make the necessary adjustments. But I think we should wait for Cavador to come down here before we do the overclock. He created Mother, and only he knows the best way to proceed. Besides, he wouldn't have forbidden us to tamper with Mother's core without a good reason, but Hyundai won't listen. We've had sharp words over this, but he insists on going ahead with the procedure despite the fact that he'll have to use an exterior electrical probe to access her central circuits. I refuse to relinquish the code Cavador gave to me. I may be second in command, but I won't violate the order of an elder. Hyundai told me today that he'd already asked Brother Cavador twice to come down here last month so that he could bring up the idea. Cavador said that due to the new mining operations he's supervising on the Island of Iron, he won't be here till the end of the month, he said. When I asked him why we couldn't just wait until then, he grew frustrated and replied, "When Brother Cavador first installed Mother here, her current operational capacity was well suited to our needs. Now, however, the base has expanded to nearly 3 times its previous size. Since then, and Mother can no longer fully handle life support and security functions in her current state, plus with our new modifications, overclocking is necessary to continue development here and ensure success. I intend to do it. If Brother Cavador had come last month when I first asked, we would have already averted this crisis. As it stands, we're about to do some serious expansion soon, and we need Mother at maximum capacity. The Mechanist Council has entrusted me with meeting these challenges, and I intend to do it. Don't worry, friend, I'm sure Cavador will be furious when he finally gets here, but dealing with his wrath will be far easier than having to face the Council, who could be quite unforgiving, I might add, and explain that we had brought expansion to a screeching halt because Cavador wouldn't let me raise his baby to be the strong servant she was meant to be. We will proceed with the modification tomorrow, and I will take full responsibility for what happens. With friend Sparks from the Council having recently arrived, Hyundai at least had the unofficial blessing of the Council, but I stood firm against his entreaties as well. Why do I have such distress in my spirit over this? I pray everything goes well tomorrow. If Mother is harmed by this tinkering, we will have to face Cavador's and the Council's combined wrath. Later entry. Unbelievable. I would never have thought such an event would occur even beyond my most dire predictions. Time to leave.
Cavador's machines and Arbez's ultimate death squad working together. Damn, those mechanists never had a chance. And neither do I if I don't get the hell out of here.
Alright, all that's left now is to get into that tunnel. Alright, let's wrap this thing up.
Struggling. It takes so long.
I believe this bot, he has a friend Sparks, the Mechanist Council member that gave Hyundai the okay for the procedure. Black box recording system.
As I have recorded before in these logs, now that Mother has been integrated into our defensive grid, it is my intention to alter Mother's core functions in order to boost her operating capacity, thus fulfilling her new role as head of security in our great undersea home. The process is one that I have called overclocking, and it should enable Mother to become faster and even more powerful than ever before. Friends, it's time. Are you engineers ready down there? Good. Mother is now operating at full capacity. Access plate has been removed and electrical probe inserted. Implementation of stated procedure is underway. Excellent. Circuit manipulation is succeeding. I can already see a boost in performance.
Warning. Core program violated. Defensive program XYT-14 engaged. May all the enemies of Karis fall like rotten wood.
What in Karis' name?
Warning. Core circuits compromised. Code red. Message playback.
I have given explicit instructions for Mother's core systems not to be tampered with under any circumstances without my consent supervision. Our business, I know only you dare to defy my instructions. Wretched scoundrel, you think to warp my creations to your own ends. You shall not stay in the order anymore. Death to thee!
That message must have been from last year.
Core chamber turrets online and engaging attackers. Combat program engaged. New flexible protocols engaged. Linked combat bots online. Sisterhood activated. Override signal engaged. Children, come nigh to my aid. Deliver the holy sanctuary from the betrayers. Fight for the glory of the gear. Attack! Attack!
Shut her down! Shut her down!
I can't, sir. She's not responding. Can't you cut the power? Core power has already been cut. It looks like she has her own backup system.
Builder's blood! Cavador never told me about that. Alert security.
My cog!
Sparks, get away from the window. They're in here. Flee, friends, or we'll be slain. Try to link up with Ruger's men.
There's Mother's chamber. Oh, great. Now they've got bots that fly. I'll have to find another way.
That turret over there is actually a beta model, I believe, for the metal turrets that were in the final game. Anyway, that's Mother, her central core. We're gonna take a tunnel under her.
Takes more.
Looks like this is where they process new recruits.
Pathetic. Takes more than that. What's struggling? Curse you.
Here we go.
No, what are you doing?
1492.
Friends, come to my aid. An intruder strikes at my very soul.
Oh, of note, friend Hyundai, on that black box recording, he's voiced by David Tonkinson, Saturnine of the Seventh Crystal fame, and I believe he partially contributed to the ideas behind this mission.
My mind. I falter. No! Good evening, Brother Cavador. I am ready for my first lesson.
Nothing personal, Mother. It's time for me to leave, and you were just in the way.
Mother, this is Brother Cavador aboard the Cetus Amicus. I command you to stop attacking. Stop attacking. Code 47892. Stop attacking immediately. Mother, do you hear me? Mother!
So apparently Cavador was trying to shut her down the entire time, but since she was controlling any of the announcement system, she wouldn't hear it to begin with, so it was a vain effort. Just to look at Mother's chamber, but it's time to get out of here. Some mechanists from a rescue party have arrived from the surface and they're dueling it out with the remains of the Sisterhood and their machines. Meanwhile, we're going back to the main plaza and getting to the escape pods. Oh crap. Alright.
I'm out of here.
And this mission is complete, as is John Dee's series. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.